Settling for less in relationships is not a conscious decision. Most people don't wake up and choose inconsistency, emotional unavailability, or crumbs of affection. Settling happens quietly, through adaptation. It happens when your nervous system learns that asking for more is unsafe, that wanting consistency risks loss, and that staying small preserves connection. When you settle for less, you're not lacking self-worth. You're protecting a wound. A wound that learned early that love is fragile, conditional, or easily withdrawn. Somewhere along the way, your system decided that it was safer to stay than to ask, safer to tolerate than to risk, safer to accept less than to be left. This pattern often begins in early relationships where emotional needs were not consistently met. When caregivers were unavailable, distracted, overwhelmed, or emotionally unpredictable, you learned to adapt. You learned to minimize needs. You learned to be easy. You learned to accept what was offered instead of asking for what you required. Over time, this adaptation became your relationship blueprint. As an adult, this shows up as staying in situations where your needs are unmet while convincing yourself it's not that bad. You may find yourself explaining away inconsistency, making excuses for emotional distance, or lowering your expectations to maintain closeness. You may tell yourself you're being understanding, patient, or mature, when in reality you're disconnecting from your own truth. Settling for less is often driven by fear rather than desire. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of discovering that what you want may not be available, fear that asking for more will expose you to rejection or abandonment. These fears live in the body, not the mind. Even when you know you deserve better, your nervous system may resist change because familiarity feels safer than uncertainty. Another reason people settle is because they confuse intensity with intimacy. When a relationship includes emotional highs and lows, your nervous system becomes activated. That activation can feel like connection. You may believe that longing, anxiety, and anticipation are signs of love when they are actually signs of dysregulation. Calm, consistent relationships may feel unfamiliar or even boring if your system is used to unpredictability. Settling for less also happens when you don't trust yourself to walk away. If you don't believe you can handle the pain of separation, you're more likely to tolerate dissatisfaction. Staying becomes a way to avoid grief. But the cost of avoiding grief is often prolonged self-abandonment. Healing the part of you that settles for less begins with awareness, but it cannot end there. Understanding your patterns is important, but healing requires a different relationship with discomfort. It requires learning to tolerate the temporary pain of honoring yourself instead of the ongoing pain of betraying yourself. One of the most important shifts in healing is recognizing that your needs are not excessive. Wanting consistency, respect, emotional availability, and mutual effort is not asking for too much. These are the basics of a healthy relationship. When someone cannot meet them, it does not mean you are too demanding. It means there is a mismatch in capacity. Healing also involves grieving what you didn't receive. Many people settle because they are still unconsciously trying to earn the love they didn't get early on. They stay in familiar dynamics, hoping this time it will be different. Letting go of that hope can be painful, but it is also freeing. You are not here to repeat old wounds. You are here to heal them. As you heal, your tolerance for misalignment decreases. Things you once accepted begin to feel uncomfortable. You may notice resentment rising sooner. You may feel irritation where you once felt patience. This is not you becoming difficult. This is your nervous system becoming honest. Another crucial part of healing is learning to set internal boundaries. Internal boundaries are the limits you set with yourself about what you will emotionally invest in. They involve noticing when effort is one-sided, when communication is unclear, or when your needs are repeatedly dismissed. Instead of trying harder, you pause. Instead of chasing clarity, you observe reality. When you stop overgiving, you create space to see the relationship clearly. Settling often survives on overfunctioning. You compensate for what's missing. You carry the emotional weight. You make things work. Healing means allowing things to be exactly as they are, without rescuing the connection. Healing the part that settles for less also requires rebuilding self-trust. Each time you ignore your own discomfort, you weaken your trust in yourself. Each time you honor it, even in small ways, you strengthen it. Self-trust grows when you act in alignment with your values, not when you wait for others to change. You may also need to redefine what love means to you. Love is not endurance. Love is not self-sacrifice. Love is not staying when you feel unseen. Love includes mutual care, emotional safety, and the freedom to be fully yourself. Anything that requires you to shrink, silence, or betray yourself is not love. It is attachment. As healing progresses, you may feel a sense of emptiness or loss. This is normal. You are letting go of familiar patterns, even if they were painful. The absence of chaos can feel strange at first. This doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. It means your nervous system is recalibrating. Over time, as you continue to choose yourself, your attraction patterns shift. You become less drawn to emotionally unavailable people. You become more sensitive to inconsistency. You start feeling bored by dynamics that once consumed you. Instead, you are drawn to clarity, steadiness, and mutual effort. Healing the part that settles for less is not about becoming rigid or demanding perfection. It's about becoming aligned with yourself. It's about recognizing that you don't have to earn love by tolerating pain. You don't have to prove your worth by staying. You don't have to abandon yourself to be chosen. When you heal this part of you, you don't chase potential anymore. You choose reality. You don't negotiate your needs. You honor them. You don't stay where you feel anxious, small, or confused. You walk away with integrity, even when it's hard. And in doing so, you create the conditions for a different kind of relationship. One where love feels safe. One where effort is mutual. One where you are not settling, but choosing.